Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back, and we're live with LGD China versus DK. It's your Dota 2 Super League showdown, your first of two best-of-5 semifinals. I'm LD of Beyond the Summit. I'm joined here by Merleezy.
LDZ, thanks for an introduction.
Thanks for joining me.
I mean, what I'm trying to think about how LGD can how DK rather can come back from that really ridiculously, like that was just a bad first game. I'm trying to put it in have any euphemism, but it was a stomp.
Yeah, it's really hard to come back from losing your crow at 5 minutes.
They actually took a while joining the game. I think they might have had a pep talk, try and discuss some stress. I think what they need to do is they just need to put a lot more pressure out early, whether that means Clockwork needs to rotate early or have a more actually aggressive triple lane with maybe triple stuns instead of a more defensive aggressive triple lane with Shadow Priest and Earthshaker. I don't know. I just think nothing really synergized with the last game.
It's a good defensive tri-lane, Shadow Priest, Earthshaker.
Right.
It's very awkward as an aggressive one.
I mean, Earthshaker and Clockwork, again, not really any synergy there, especially without Blink. If you cog someone, what's Earthshaker going to do? He just
throws a fissure on top of the cogs, and they're kind of wasted.
And Weaver and Dragon Knight, again, they don't really synergize too well with the cogs and fissure either. It was just a strange draft overall, and I was hoping that they had bigger and better plans than what I expected, but unfortunately, it seemed to fall a little bit short. So let's go ahead and go inside this draft. So LGD has Batrider. Batrider just dominated yesterday. YYF got off to a little bit of a slow start, but Batrider usually I see him just dominate games.
He's been banned or picked, I believe, we had a stat yesterday by K-Poptosis. In his past 2,000 games, 99 in the past 2,000 games of competitive Dota that have been recorded, he has been picked in 99 or banned in 99.8% of the games.
Wow.
That's absurd. That shows you right there. That's just an infallible argument for this hero being really legit.
I mean, even at 6.78, he's still gotten a lot of. He's still first pick, first ban material. But the curveball here is Spectre, second pick from LGD. There were a lot of teams experimenting with early Spectre picks yesterday, but they got punished pretty heavily for it, and LGD did not want to give up any of these super strong carries, Gyrocopter and Alchemist, and again, it feels like they already are off to somewhat of a similar strategy to last game, where they want to put the pressure on the other team. Okay, we're going to have Spectre, we're going to have Alchemist, we're going to have a really great late game team, and if you don't come and gank us, we're just going to win late game.
And LGD may be picking into DK's favor here, because they've gone for two supports that are not really that good in a tri-lane versus tri-lane. Well, Rubik's decent defensively, doesn't give you much burst, and both of these heroes, the Nyx and the Rubik, need a lot of levels and a decent amount of farm. The Nyx needs level 6, the Rubik needs level 6, and they're going to be up against a very strong offensive tri-lane. It looks to me like a Visage Windrunner +1 tri-lane. Maybe the Earthshaker would be the third choice, and then a Weaver safe lane. And then we'll see what DK goes for their solo. It could also be a solo mid Windrunner, and then some sort of Weaver tri-lane, and another carry. But Burning's Anti-Mage has been banned out, so LGD are covering all their bases here. They don't want to get Anti-Mage, they don't want to get out-carried late game, and you can actually see 4 carries have been banned by LGD. They say the only way we're losing this series is if Burning goes ballistic. So we ban out all of his heroes, and you can't beat us. And now DK, well, challenge accepted. They'll have to find a way to do it. If you're just tuning in, I believe I forgot to mention, but it is a best of 5, and it's LGD China leading that set 1-0. It's an elimination match. Loser is going home. They will play the third, fourth place decider, but they're out of the running to win the first season of the Dota 2 Super League. So now, fourth pick for DK.
Slark.
They'll go for a Slark, and I like this a lot because he's great against Batrider. You can actually use Dark Pact to remove the lasso, as well as sticky napalm charges. And he's a snowball hero, he's a pressure hero. Against LGD, they don't have that much burst in the early to mid game. If they get enough levels, maybe with the Nyx, but I feel like Slark could do a lot of work.
Yeah, and that is one thing they certainly lacked last game was pressure, and hopefully Slark can create some around the map. Again, with LGD's lineup, if they do Spectre, Rubik, Nyx Assassin safe lane, they're almost certainly not going to lose that lane, just because Nyx Assassin shuts down Visage pretty hard with the mana burn. Soul Assumption takes tons of mana early, and if you don't have any damage from Soul Assumption, Spectre's not going to die.
Do they go for a Keeper of the Light here? He is in the pool.
I mean, I think it would be
That would solve your mana problems, and it gives you a great
Nyx, again, with Spike Carapace, though, will kind of own him in the late game, but again, DK needs to get off to a good start. They need to shut down the farm of their carry. They tried to do it last game, but Sylar just recovered so well on Alchemist, and
now he's got Spectre.
Right.
I mean, not as good at farming this hero, but doesn't need as much farm, and if he gets it, unstoppable.
I feel like
we saw a Spectre, it was like 3 or 4 days ago, or maybe 2 or 3, out-carried an Alchemist and a Lifestealer who both had Abyssal Blades and were like 4 or 5. I think the Alch was 6 slotted. Spectre with 3 or 4 items out-carried those 2 heroes. So we'll see what Sylar can do.
Again, I think he's just an incredible hero, scales very well with items, but you have to have the right lineup built around it, and I think Batrider will be able to take a lot of the pressure off them. Rubik and Nyx has been very, very strong in defensive triple lanes. LG, again, they have like very clean draft, very clean play, and I think their draft is stronger than DK's at this point.
Let's see if DK can spill a little red wine on this clean draft of theirs.
So the thing about this early game, I think if it's like last game where it was just very passive, like 0-0, 6 minutes in, that's definitely going to favor LGD. All they need is level 6 on Batrider and some decent farm on Spectre, and they're already off to a really good early game. Whereas if DK tries to compete with farm with Spectre, they're going to lose out in the mid to late game. I think they have a much better lineup in the first 15 minutes if they can play aggressively, if they can score a couple of kills, perhaps get first blood and early BKBs. I think all of these are pretty instrumental in them in toppling LGD.
Yeah, and you look at DK's lineup, they could in theory run a support Windrunner and run a Weaver tri-lane with the Windrunner, but all 3 heroes, Visage, Weaver, Windrunner, do need a certain amount of levels and farm. So I imagine it's probably a farmy Windrunner, and then DK will be looking at their second support here. Shadow Demon already banned. What do you think, Merlini? What's the best support option for DK? I mentioned Keeper of the Light, but outside of that, any thoughts?
Well, yeah, Shadow Demon's banned out. I mean, they could go with Jakiro. Jakiro is decent here. I mean, there's nothing that like stands out to me like, oh my gosh, they definitely need this. Some setup would be nice though.
Does DK want to consider getting? Do they want to consider getting greedy here and going for something? I don't know, like a Prophet. Maybe you just run an offlane Windrunner, throw it to the Wolves.
I think it's way too greedy, especially with the Spectre. Ooh, Sand King. Sand King's a pretty decent pick. Again, they need aggression. Prophet is too passive, in my opinion.
Well, Sand King could be a great pickup for DK, or it could be a great pickup for LGD. We saw a lot of great spell steals yesterday. I believe Kuroki was leading the way for Navi in the Alienware Cup with that, and DD could have a big game of his own. Let's see how many highlight reels he can create with his team. LGD China, they lead this best of 5, 1-0. DD going to be handling the Rubik. DDC on the Nyx assassin. Sylar heading to the bottom lane as the Spectre. They look to dodge an aggressive tri-lane from DK here. Xiao8 will be the mid puck, starting with the Null Talisman. Really wants to snowball in this 1v1 matchup. And last but not least, Yao heading safe lane as the bat. So LGD, a bit of mind games here with their lanes.
Yeah, and I actually think the puck pickup is extremely strong too. I think they're very vulnerable to silences right now, most notably Sand King as well as the Weaver. And again, they need to create a lot of pressure around the map for Spectre so he can farm. Again, this is some tricky laning by LGD.
And on the other side, we do have Team DK. They have quite a roster of veterans. A lot of championships between these guys, but as of late, they've been a little quiet. Can they start to make some noise now? We'll find out. It's ROTK. He had a great start, then he fed a courier, and that really caused Game 1 to fall apart for his team. Let's see if he can bounce back here. He's handling the Windrunner. Die, MMY, or X, whatever you want to call him. He's on the Sand King, and he is a playmaker for this team. QQQ, or 357, handling the Visage. Actually has a very early Smoke of Deceit. Super taking over the mid-roll. He'll be playing the Slark here today. And last but certainly not least, it's the B-God. It's Burning. It's your carry all-world team for 2011 and still made a lot of noise at the International too. He'll be looking for a win here. He's playing that safe lane Weaver.
So, looks like Sand King already picked up an Invis rune. He is already sitting in mid, and if Xiao8 picks up Facial one, he might actually be in a lot of trouble.
Well, Super's going to maybe try to bait that out. We'll see what he does for the time being. I guess the one issue is you're not expected to take too much auto attack harass, so maybe you don't even take Fate Shift. He's skilled orb now, and this is going to be... Well, they can certainly harass him, maybe give Super a powerful start, but they're not finding a first blood unless Xiao8 uses this orb to farm. Willie, not just yet. The creep wave is... A couple creeps are low. He'll eat a burrow straight to the face. There's a leap available. He orbs out, but the soul assumption isn't going to connect, and QQQ almost gets the first blood. And unfortunately, they devoted 3 heroes to that gank, so a bit of wasted time here. This allows DDC to place a Magic Bush Ward. Has not been scouted by DK, and that's going to slow down their own jungle game.
Wow, Windrunner already under a lot of pressure on top. 4 stacks and forced to Windrun all the way back to tower, so he's doing okay in terms of experience, but I mean, very smart play by Xiaowei there, picking up the illusory orb at level 1. In a lot of matchups, I see Bucks take phase shift, and he would almost certainly have died there had he taken it.
Yeah, if that was something like a Queen of Pain or a hero that auto-attack harasses you early, I bet Xiaowei would have taken it. But against a Slark, you just don't need it. And he also did see a few supports off the map. They had at least an Observer Ward at the rune, so maybe Xiaowei was just playing safe and a little bit suspicious about the very gank that came to pass. Now Yao will rotate into the jungle. He actually started in the lane, but it's Sylar who gets the safe lane farm. LGD, they've teleported Sylar top. They want to keep him away from this tri-lane, and immediately the supports are going to follow him. QQQ with Die in tow, heading towards the top lane. They are just not going to let Sylar sit in a lane and farm. He has hit level 2. He's got 5 CS, but so far doesn't quite have a lot, and, well, they'll keep on applying the pressure to him here.
Tons of rotations around the map so far, each team trying to get this upper hand in the early game.
It's really musical lanes at this point. And let's see who comes out on top. It'll be another rotation from DD. He teleports top. They've left I guess the one big issue for LGD is it's a Nyx assassin bottom lane. This is not the hero you really want matched up 1v1 against Burning's Weaver. He's going to crush this matchup as he should. And the Windrunner's doing well top. Super breaking even more or less with Xiaowei mid. Xiaowei slightly ahead, but now it's going to equalize a bit. LGD, well, they're struggling a bit in this laning stage, and that is the one issue with picking up a Spectre as your carry.
It is clear what their priority is, and that is securing farm for Sylar. Whether it means like letting Burning just farm away as Weaver, they clearly just want Sylar to get his levels to get his items. And he's actually going a very defensive build, very safe build with picking up level 1 dispersion at level 2 instead of the desolate, the level 2 desolate early build that we see from a lot of other Spectres.
So Merlini, the early gank didn't work. DK had that lucky invis rune, did not connect in the end. Super's going to do a bit of bottle crowing here, but how do you look at this matchup, the Puck Slark mid? Does anyone have a clear advantage?
I think it's fairly even for both teams. I think Xiao 8 as the Puck has better room control with an illusory orb, and he can dodge ganks a little bit easier. But in terms of CS and harassing and kill potential, I think it like slightly edges Puck out. But again, it's highly
very slightly.
Yeah, it just depends on player skill for the most part, and it looks like it's still pretty even. 14-9 or 15-7 CS for the Puck and 12-2 for the Slark.
I'm a bit worried for DK. If we take a look at the broader picture for this game, as much as they're out farming LGD slightly in certain areas, Burning getting a lot of farm, RTK getting a lot of farm, and Sylar being somewhat denied, only sitting at 12 CS, 4 minutes in, it's not great CS. They have a jungle Batrider, so LGD are the ones who are being a bit greedy. They have an off-lane Nyx, DDC. Yes, he's under pressure, but he's not dying just yet. And I feel if it just goes on like this for another 5 minutes, LGD are going to be in a fantastic position. Jungle Bat, left unchecked, can get a Blink Dagger by like the 9-10 minute mark. And so far, Yao is very efficient. He's been stacking the big camp till he hits level 4, and after this stack, he would be, I think he'll be level 5, maybe even close to level 6. This is about as fast as Jungle Bat can go, especially considering he actually started in the lane. He might even die to the neutrals here, though.
Oh,
Yao!
wow.
Oh, that cost him. He missed a lot of experience. He does get the free fountain trip, but not really, well, not free, but he gets the fountain trip, I should say, but not really ideal.
Yeah, wow. Anyways, barring that, LGD again.
I like how you're pretending that didn't just happen.
I mean, I was just very surprised. Very surprised. His jungling was going very well up until then.
My jinxing powers are off the charts. My goodness.
While Burning playing very aggressively on bottom lane, trying to drive DDC, but again, DDC picked up his Carapace at level 2. I think it's a very good choice, just so he does not die. Again, he's going to pick up levels, and Burning is going to get his farm. But again, LGD, I think, has done a very good job at just making DK feel pressure. They have to aggressive triple lane, try their best to shut down Spectre, but because of that, they can't really roam. They can't really shut down the Batrider, who, I mean, he kind of just killed himself there.
He shut himself down, but still, end of the day, it's still pretty fast farm for a Batrider. I mean, yes, it's not as fast as it could have been, but he's got boots, he's got bottle, and he's up to 600 gold. I think we're still looking at a Blink Dagger around like the 10-11 minute mark at the rate he's going.
Right. And I'm just checking out top lane. CS is still going pretty well for Sylar. 16-0 as 2 heroes versus a triple lane, aggressive triple lane, especially one that they have. I think that's a very good play by him. He's also almost topped on HP with a Tango and a healing salve, so he hasn't been taking unnecessary harass. He's gotten a magic stick early just in case they do decide to play very, very aggressively on him. And the safe play from LGD has usually worked out very, very well for them.
And you could just see how badly they want to make a move here on Sylar. RTK is farming not just at the tower, but like on top of the tower, and unfortunately they just can't find an opening. Invis Rune will be bottled up by Super. They'll head back towards the middle lane. He's now level 6. Our puck for Xiao8 is level 7. Xiao8 33 and 13 to the 21 of 3 of the Slark for Super. And I guess you look at Xiao8, he was pulled regen. He started with an old talisman, and he dodged that gank. So I guess maybe he has a slight advantage in terms of last hitting, but mostly I feel he's just kind of outplaying Super here, who I believe was also pulled and started with
He's
the
playing
poor man
so
shield.
aggressively up on him. Yeah, he was also pulled regen. He started off with a poor man shield, an ironwood branch, and 2 sets of regen, 1 set of tangles and 1 set of flash. So both of them were pulled evenly. But this ward up on top has been sitting there on low HP, and just shows you how like controlled LGD is. They don't want to take any unnecessary risk, whether it means they can't pull or can't get a little bit of CS with Spectre. They're just doing their best to not die.
It's actually unbelievable how far ahead LGD is in terms of experience. Remember, they teleported Sylar top. They are running a jungle Batrider and an offlane Nyx against a solo Weaver, and a Spectre that only has 1 hero supporting him in the lane right now. They'll rotate 2 in at this point, but 17
Batrider is 6.
advantage already.
Batrider
Yao
is
is 6, despite that death to the creeps, and he's got access to lasso. DK, no vision here, could be in trouble. Yao's gonna come in, he's got a flame break, he launches it, he connects on QQQ, but it's not really the best time to go in.
Dream Coil.
The shackle isn't gonna connect, the Dream Coil is whiffed, and does DK look to get aggressive off of this? We'll have to wait and see.
Wow, I think that they could have killed the Visitor had that Dream Coil hit regardless.
Bottom lane, Burning's making a dive on DDC. He's dropped the swarm. He looks to chase. DDC throws out an impale. He's got a Mana Burn available as well. It's just too far for Burning to dive. That Nyx is about to hit level 6, and you look at DK, a lot of these heroes are very vulnerable to Nyx assassin ganks. And sure, that one gank did not work, Merlini, but LGD with a bat, a puck, and already a Nyx at level 6, 8 minutes in. DK are going to have to be very, very cautious, and that's going to free up Sylar to get a bit more farm.
DK also needs wards out. Looking at the map right now, LGD has 2 wards out.
DDC, he's got Vendetta. He'll be fine.
Yeah, they have 2 wards out right now, 1 on the top rune, or actually both of them like very close to the top rune, and DK, they have no wards out right now. They have no idea where the Batrider ganks are coming from, when Nyx Assassin is taping in with a Vendetta, and I feel like they're just going to give up first blood very, very shortly because of this lack of vision.
That was really cool. Super just running up and down cliffs to make sure he figures out exactly where the observer ward that was spotting him was. That's the great thing about Shadow Dance. It lets you know when there's a ward in the area. And great teamwork from those two, and using that ability to its fullest potential. I still think this is really favoring LGD. They are trailing, well, now they're even ahead on gold. I was going to say they're trailing there, but it's a 2K experience lead, and they have the better late game. And DK, their supports are very vulnerable to Nyx ganks. And speaking of those Nyx ganks, well, we will probably see them now. DDC level 6 will head back to the bottom lane, but Lasso available, Vendetta available in 10 or 15 seconds or so. LGD, lots of opportunities to find kills. The good news for DK is they have slowed down the Spectre's farm. They haven't stopped it like you mentioned, but Sylar, only 26 CS, 9 minutes in. It's not great. I still feel they have to make a lot more happen to call this laning stage a success.
Yep, and Windrunner is actually rushing mech too, so again, I expect a lot of action from DK
soon. Coming soon.
It's coming soon.
It's on Valve time right now, though. I feel like they're waiting a bit too long, but once the mech comes, the buckler, the chainmail, the headdress.
There's a rotation top from Super, though.
Oh, Dai's coming as well. Super leads the way. He leaps, he latches, he catches DD, who doesn't have his boots. He buys them before dying. He didn't get the teleport scroll purchased in time, so he won't be able to rejoin this fight with these. Teleport from Xiao8, immediately cancel. Now he heads bottom instead. And it looks like they want to make a go on Burning. Burning, he's gone power treads. He's still a bit vulnerable here. It's such a hard game to be a Weaver. There are 3 heroes that if they catch you and they have follow-up, will kill you. And now under cover of Vendetta, DDC's coming in. Who's got a teleport scroll on DK? Even if they have one, doesn't matter. Nobody does. This is not good for Burning. There comes the puck. Over the top. The waning rip. They need a coil here as well. They haunt. But Burning time lapses out. He's Sakuchi's. He's going to get away, I think. There is a sentry ward, I believe. Or no, it's Dust actually. And he time lapsed out. I think he's completely fine here.
Yep, and wow,
that was
level 2
close,
silence.
but just couldn't quite bring him down.
Again, Nyx Assassin in the off lane, you really need Arcane Boots at this point in the game. He didn't have enough mana for mana burn. If he had that, I think that burning would have died. Again, we were going very safe builds. In Asian Dota, we see very safe builds from most of the players. He was in a safe lane versus a solo off lane Nyx, and he still didn't go a very greedy build, whether it be Ultimate Orb Rush, Radiance, anything like that. Still going Treads, still getting the Ring of Basilius, still getting a Magic Wand and a bottle, just to make sure his HP is topped at all times so that he does not give an early death. Yeah, so important.
Even leaving the Treads on power Treads. If those were agility Treads and Treads, he was definitely dead there. Not Tread swapping, not messing around with that. And it looks like he's going to be able to escape from this gank. He's Sakuchiing, he runs away. The tether does break. Xiaowei comes in. Maybe they can still chase him. Sakuchi wears off, but he's got another one soon. The orb comes through. Oh. Burning's low. He's not dead yet. He jukes in the trees. He's done it. He's escaped, and Xiaowei has been thwarted. The director, his script, not going exactly according to plan this game. Still, I feel they're in an alright spot, but now that the big ults are down, they used Haunt, they used Dream Coil, they used Vendetta. The only one they didn't use was Lasso. Now they're going to look to make a move top, and with the mech coming for RTK, I think this is a tier 1 into the books for DK.
Even if they didn't kill Burning, I still feel like that was a good move by LGD because Spectre actually dodged a gank up top. There were 3 heroes to the left side of the tower, and there was 1 hero to the right, and he was in this position over here, just ready to die. But him scouting out those heroes with the Haunt and then teleporting away from them actually saved him a little bit, although he might die here on bottom. No TP scroll on him.
Oh no, he could be in trouble. The bugs are on him, but there's backup in tow. It's DDC. He'll be okay. It's top lane where the real action picks up. Yao gets latched in position. Has he bought his Blink Dagger yet? He has, but he goes down. A big double damage rune for Super, and I think they may die for more kills. They're going to take care of the tier 1 top. DD, no TP. He could be in trouble. Super's on the hunt, and DD is like, no, please, just leave me away. Assume I've escaped. Super, no mercy. Vicious, ROTK sniping the kill. They all drop very low, but in the end, the Fade Bolt just not enough. They'll be forced back, and they get another kill, and they get a tower. Very important versus the Spectre.
Yep, but Batrider has his blink now. It is the time for LGD to try and get on the board right now. 4-0, they have an early level 6 on Nyx Assassin. Level 7 already, he's swinging around back trying to look for an early kill. Maybe
he's going to find a courier. This could be really bad. There's nothing on it. Actually, there is. A Wraith Band for Burning. It goes down. Great movement from DDC. I'm not sure if he was expecting to find the courier or if he thought he could backstab for a kill, but either way, fantastic movement from him. They do have an observer ward, so they may have spotted the couriers flying through. And now DDC, he'll run south. He doesn't have a TP, but I'm not sure if DK can get in range. I'm not sure if it'll be worth it, even if they do. Merlini is currently coughing his lungs out. I hope he's not dying. DDC gets caught, though. A leap, a latch, and now the Dark Pact over the top. DDC is low. The chase is on. The Swarm flies forth. Super continuing to give chase. Marching forward. He wants Yao as well. The Swarm is on him. He can't leap away. Shackle on DD. It's going to connect. DK finding some absolutely gargantuan fights here. They lead 7-0. They are face-rolling LGD in game number 2. They took their licks. They took their punches in game 1, and now the tides have really turned. They lead by 4,000 gold. And they, for their first time this game, they have an experienced lead as well against the Jungle Batrider, who basically got free farm. DK looking very strong with the early mech, now the familiars. They can really force these towers, and I don't think LGD can actually fight.
I like how they're constantly keeping up the pressure. They're not taking any time to farm, but hey, you know, I need my drums or I need my arcane boots. They're just constantly pressuring towers. They sat on top for maybe like a good 4 to 5 minutes, but they didn't get punished at all, and then eventually they broke that T1 tower, and then after that took that very nice fight in the middle, and as soon as they have all 3 T1 towers on right now, and Spectre's space to farm is quite limited.
And it's where, even if Sylar gets the TP here, which he will, and he TPs out, end of the day, it's a lot of time and gold he's wasting. He's got to go back to base, then he's got to heal up, then he's going to walk back out to the lane. Every time that happens, even if he doesn't die, it's a minute and a half, or a minute to a minute and a half of not farming. And while that's happening, Burning is being left alone. He's up to 1,800 gold. And DK, despite not having the better late-game heroes, they could get the better late-game items at this rate. 1,400 gold up on RTK. A Force Staff could be in the offing for him. Burning.
Wow, there's a gem already on the Windrunner.
Wow.
They are done with this Nyx Assassin.
I mentioned Force Staff. He says, screw it. Did he actually just buy a Ring of Basilius, or has he had this? Because I think he just bought it.
He is so far an Arcane, Ring of Basilius, mech, and a gem. I'm pretty sure he's the one that bought the gem, too.
Yeah, he did. He just had about, I think it was 1,200 gold. I don't think he just bought the Ring of Basilius. I believe he had it earlier.
Looks like the Sand King is in a lot of trouble in middle right now.
Well, maybe not. He's got backup here. They do blink. They lasso him, but can they bring him down quick enough? Xiaowei over the top. The mech keeps Die alive. He will go down in the end, but it's at the cost of a shackle on DDC. Now a leap, a latch, and a kill, and Burning continues to give chase. Look at the bugs. They're on the hunt. Call the exterminators, but unfortunately DD is not very good at dealing with these pests. They've caught Xiaowei as well. He orbs north. The shackle follows him. It finds him, and DK are steamrolling again. 3 for 1, and all they got was a support Sand King. Radiant Courier does respawn. LGD, well, they keep on forcing these fights, and you'd think they'd want to. They had a really fast level 6 on Bat, as well as a fairly early Blink. They had the early Vendetta. They had a decent start on the Puck. But the early mech is just completely changing the complexion of this game.
This is no Kuroki Rubik either. We haven't seen Burrow Strike stolen yet. I think he got Dark Pack last time. He really wants Shikuchi. I think Shackle is pretty good too. Pounce is decent for escaping, and Burrow Strike is probably the best spell that he can steal. But not getting any of those, and it is hurting their team.
Yeah, and DK is just playing really well in these small skirmishes. Credit to them where it's due. Burning does opt for an Ultimate Orb here. And what do you think he'll go for? I think it's a great Lincoln's game. You're up against Lasso. You're up against the Nyx Impale, the Rubik Lift. A lot of ways to get out of trouble, to get out of jail. And look at the confidence of DK, really pressuring LGD's jungle. I would like to see some aggressive Observer Wards up. They have that gem that you mentioned. But we see a BKB on Super. DK just have such an item advantage. They now lead by nearly 8k gold, experience up to a 4k advantage. And Super, as soon as he sees Sylar cross like this line right here on the map, he says, you ain't farming there. You're going back to base. And Sylar will be forced to teleport out. He's not doing it yet. He tries to dagger away. Super's going to follow him. One more leap. In 1 second, it could be just enough. The familiars will scout him. If Sylar tries to TP out, he's going to fall. He phases his way through the trees. He comes back, but Dai is waiting. Surprise! Goodbye. Sylar bites the dust, and LGD, they just can't keep him safe. Meanwhile, bottom lane Burning, too tanky to be killed off. He's got a haste. He's gotten cocky. Xiaowei baited him in. A beautiful bait from him, and Burning had time lapse, could not get it off. Ends up going down. They trade carries. LGD, maybe they'll be okay with that, but now the tier 2 top is under siege.
I feel like Super has been playing phenomenally this game. He fell a little bit behind in the CS against the Puck, but his movement ever since then has been spot on. Just putting a lot of pressure on Spectre so he can't farm, just scouting out wards and allowing them to take out all these towers early. They've taken out 4 towers already.
And they have an okay... they've got a great lineup for killing creep waves. They have the early mech. It's a good pushing lineup. They don't have a lone druid or any summon heroes. They don't have edict. It's still a strong pushing lineup, but it's mostly because they're finding kills. They find kills, they convert them into towers, and then they follow up by putting down a layer of observer wards. At least that's what I would expect from them. They're actually a bit lacking. That's the one thing I would like to see is just observers on the hill. Again, you have a gem, so you can trade wards quite effectively. Plus, you've got the gold advantage. So if LGD are forced to buy wards or sentries, that means DD ain't getting his urn, ain't getting his bracer. The Nyx not getting a blink dagger. I think it's worth it to trade, and now they'll go play some aggressive wards, it looks like.
LGD has a great turtle lineup, though. They have the Bat Rider. Bat Rider, if you try and break that T3 and you get lassoed up that cliff, that is almost certainly a lost team fight.
This could be bad. Both familiar stuns have been used. They're going to find QQQ, a blink, but DK was waiting. The question is it going to be enough? Epi is being channeled. There's no way to stop this, but they can maybe run away. Xiaowei can. He gets blown up by a soul of something. Yao on the high ground, forced to run. Super, he's been slowed for a bit, but now he's still got a few seconds left. He leaps forward. He leaps into an impale. Dark Pack's going to remove it. Everybody from LGD in a headlong retreat. Great defensive lineup. They do get out with only a 1-for-1.
They solve Lasso well. We might see engagement come up soon.
Can they really fight? They do have Puck Coil. He's got a Blink Dagger as well. Problem is he's on the sidelines, and Mech's cooling down. I think DK, they'll take this tier 2 mid, and they'll back off. And with this tier 2 down, they just need to get the bottom tower, and they'll be in prime position for Roche.
Right. Spectre, let's check out his items right now. Forced to go very defensive items. With Bracer not even turning that into a drums, an early Vit booster. This is not going to be a Radiant Spectre. Not at this rate.
I mean, maybe he'll go for one. I actually feel like he might have to get back in the game. But if he does, it's going to be a while.
It's going to be like a
How are you going to farm a Radiant?
35-minute Radiant.
Look at this map.
At best.
Look at what DK sees. They are really playing in the dark. I mean, that's pretty much the extent of their vision. That's it. Right there. That's
Meanwhile, Sand King has his Blink Dagger. This is what happens when you get 5 towers, and it's going to be very, very scary. Sure, they have Blink, Batrider initiate, and actually they have Blink up on.
They're going in. Shackle not going to connect. RTK went for the Wodo to play, and unfortunately, he gets pulled into the tower. He's their mech carrier, and it's cooling down. He drops a gem as well. It's still on the floor. Nobody's gone for it. Super leaps forward. Can't find a latch. He backs off. Sylar haunted in. Who got the gem is the big question here. It went to QQQ. Now he escapes. They lose RTK and Burning, and Burning's forced to buy back. He looks to rejoin the fight. They did recover the gem, but LGD really showing how strong they can be at defending towers and defending the base. They're handing on Merlini.
Turtle lineup. I mean, Batrider is just fantastic at defending towers. They made a small slip up by trying to shackle a phase-shifted puck, but they got punished very heavily. He blew his Windrunner early and then just got dragged in the tower. What can he do versus that, especially when I think his force staff was on cooldown at that
I
point?
think they just should have been more patient, because that Blink Dagger that you mentioned for the Sankey was just arriving. They could have let him worm his way through the trees like we saw X Freedom doing on Tree Protector, or what Net was doing for RNG Sports, and then wait for the right moment. LGD wouldn't have known about that, but they just forced the issue. They got a little bit cocky, and they pay.
So it looks like they have a small window to push now when a lot of their ultimates are down. No Dream Coil up, no Haunt up, no Vendetta, and no Lasso. So great time for DK to push. No Glyph either.
DK, they're sieging the tower. They've got a double damage on Burning. Sylar, Haunt cooling down. He's not going to look to help the team, at least not yet. The Familiars, they come out of the Gargoyle form. They'll go back to flying mode. And can they find an opening yet? DD, close up to the tower. He's got to be careful. Epi's being channeled. Blink. Burrow only clips 1, but the damage done to 2, or at least 1.5. But a counter initiate from Xiao 8. The mech keeps them and brings them up into fighting shape. And DDC, Super, giving chase. Xiao 8 on the run. He phase shifts out. Now he's pretty much dead. He drops a coil, but he's in trouble. He gets blown up by a Soul Assumption. DK find a couple of kills. Now they need to back off. Burrow out. DDC throws out a stun. RTK's got 15 wand charges, and he'll pop them now. While this is happening, Burning, hunting Sylar. He has a TP scroll, so he'll be okay. And DK still haven't gotten this tower, actually, but they are finding quite a few kills.
Right. If Haunt were up earlier, I think that there would have been a lot of dead heroes for DK right there. They would just dive into T3, but again, abusing this short window where they don't have any cooldowns, and now that they know everything's back up, including Batrider, they're backing up. Again, DK playing much more smartly and aggressively than last game.
TK, Force Staff has been completed. We'll work towards his next item here, and I guess that's my question for you, Merlini. What is the next step for DK in general? Be it items, be it decision-making. They're ahead. They've got the map control to some extent against LGD China. But what do they need to do from here to actually take this game? It's not enough to be ahead.
They need one defensive item on Weaver, whether it be Lincoln's or BKB. He needs to be able to live throughout these fights and take down some heroes. He's 0-2-7.
We'll have to hold that thought because Yao is not cooperating. He gets caught. He gets picked off. RTK on the hunt. He's got a shackle. It could be a 2-hero. Great blink away by Xiao 8. Never mind that. And as you were saying.
So yeah, I think, I mean, Weaver has been doing a pretty good job thus far, but 0-2-8, the only hero with, I think, one of 2 heroes without any kills right now. But he hasn't been surviving many of these fights, not being able to get that much farm. Their late game is a little bit lacking. Sylar just gets owned right there. But again, they have Spectre for a late game, and they have like a Windrunner who's gone complete support items, Slark who went defensive items with Black King bars, so I think they may lack a little bit of damage if they're forced into this turtle phase. Again, LGD has a very good turtle lineup. If they can prevent the Epicenter from dominating them like it happened in the T2 fight, I think they could potentially take this late game.
And I guess the big problem for LGD is that Sylar keeps on, I feel like he just keeps on dying. Even when he's not dying, he's being ganked by Super and being sent back to base, which means
I
he's
think
not
he's
farming.
trying to go for Radiance though, as you were saying before. He has 2,000 gold after he picked up the Ultimate Orb, but I think it's going to be too little too late.
Yeah, the Vitality Booster. And they're working on Roche right now. Roche is dropping quickly. And once they get this, can they start to siege this base? They've got Mech, Force Staff, BKB on Super, and a Basher just picked up. That'll help to deal with the damage problem. For Burning, has he completed anything? Wow, he is just so freaking poor this game. It is, and also still has not delivered his. He still hasn't delivered his Wraith Ban. The courier died when it had it on. He could complete his Reign of Aquila now. I just find it funny, but end of the day, he's the one who is struggling. I mean, get the Lincoln Sphere maybe, but otherwise, I feel like DK. They're gonna. This is the point in the game where they're probably the strongest they'll be relative to LGD strength.
Yep, and LGD, I think one big slip up that they made was not picking up that gem. Just killing the Windrunner with a very nice Blink Initiate by the Batrider, and then just giving the gem back to Visage, it just means that they can't really secure any farm for Spectre, and that's one reason why he's been dying a lot, just because they can't get any wards out. They had a gem around 10 minutes ago, and it hasn't passed in the hands of LGD yet, and look at them right now. They're just all forced to sit in a very defensive position. No vision out. Vendetta, you can't use that when they have a gem, and they just constantly 5-man.
Sylar, he pokes his head out for a few seconds, then he goes back. He's that groundhog, and he's decided it's just not spring yet. RTK, mid lane. Could look for a shackle here on Sylar, who's a bit far out. He's got backup and a blink. A burrow to start this one off. Now Xiao jumps in. Finally, it looks like the Rubik has managed to steal a big spill. I think he just got burrow strike. Can he make it work for him? DDC lurking. And they're happy with that stolen burrow strike. They're just going to back off. Nobody falls. Both teams, they reset and they reload. And I wonder if DK are going to feel a little more tentative now that Rubik has such an important spell.
Spectre needs to stop dying. He's only died twice, but he, again, not finding any sort of farm. He needs some items. He is the late game hope for LGD right now. And he's scrambling for any sort of farm, just barely being able to farm right outside their T3.
You were praising Super, and I just want to echo that, because he's 8-0-7, and their team is 17 kills. He has been all over the place. He is a total nuisance for this squad, and he's worked his way up towards an Abyssal Blade. He's close to it. He's got 2,600 gold. Doesn't have to go for it. Could go for something like an Eye of Skady. We'll see what the item of choice is here, but point is he's got the gold for it, and the reason why is not because of farm, although he is one of the lead farmers, but because of map control and killing. 8-0-7. That is a pretty ridiculous start for a Slark who was losing the CS battle in his lane.
So looking at the gold graph right now, it is about 14,000 in favor of DK right now, and XP graph about 8,000 in favor. They only have one tower down, LGD does. So I think they can't get back in the game if they can ever push out these lanes. But it requires some very nice blink initiation by the puck, by the Bat Rider, creating space for Sylar. Sylar, again, scrambling for any sort of farm that he can get. 3,000 gold right now. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Radiance, like you said. I'm actually a little bit surprised that he is going in, but it is the only way he is going to catch up and do a lot of damage in this late game. They don't have any really good BKB heroes besides the Slark, who already has one. Weaver with his Lincolns, I think he needs damage after. Again, 30 minutes in, he just has his Lincolns completed. It looks like it's going to him right now. But again, he doesn't have any damage. He's forced to go damage after the Lincoln Sphere, or else
this is an insanely late Lincolns. I mean, a great Lincoln's time is sub 20 minutes.
He was against a solo off-lane Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, who was expecting to play support. They were expecting to run an aggressive tri-lane with a support next. He didn't even itemize for a 1v1 matchup. And I actually don't remember if Bernie was pulled, but that's just ridiculous to be shut down so much this game. And I do think it goes to the strengths, and it speaks to the strength of LGD's lineup to shut down a Weaver with the blink silence. They'll actually go on Burning now. He does have Aegis. Can he time-lapse out of this? He does. They haven't blown anything big yet, though, and no time-lapse. They'll have to back off for at least 30 to 40 seconds here. DK, they're sieging this base. They have not gotten that close to breaking it yet, though.
This is the crucial 2 minutes of the game that DK really needs to make something happen with the Aegis. LGD still really weak right now. No Radiance up, no Relic up on the Spectre. If they kill him right now, it could easily be a Rax and an insurmountable lead. But breaking this T3 team, D3 tower against Yao on Bat Rider is going to be insanely difficult.
Super. Up to 3.8k. Will he go for the Abyssal? Shackle on Sylar. Not going to connect. Remember, DD had Burrow Strike, but
look at their positioning right now. It's like pretty much in a straight line. So if he eppies in, he's not going to be able to find a really, he's not going to find them clumped at all. Just fantastic spread by LGD. If they initiate on the puck, then the Bat Rider can initiate. If they initiate on the Bat Rider, then the puck can initiate, and DDC is in the middle, ready to AoE impale whoever decides to go in.
Basically, LGD have taken out an insurance policy on their insurance policy as a result.
If they can delay the game until Spectre gets his Radiance and not make kind of just wear out the Aegis, this is going to be really, really good for them. Again, DK's late game is a little bit lacking because Burning is a little bit under farm and because Windrunner is forced to go all these support items. It definitely paid off for them in the early game. They took out 6 towers early, and that mech just was crazy survivability for them. But again, now the lineup and the draft is really starting to show through for LGD.
And he's got 3,500 gold. He just needs one more wave after this, and he should have it. He could even go back to the base and sell something. He'll need to sell something anyway, so I think after this creep, he'll be back. His entire team's waiting. They're sitting behind him while Burning pushes out the top lane. The Aegis is going to expire any second now, so DK, they're waiting for Roche number 2. By that time, Burning may just have his next big item if he goes for something cheap like a Desolator.
But Sylar will have his Radiance too.
But Sylar will have his Radiance. That is the big thing. The good news is DK are all pretty tanky. Every single hero has at least 4-digit HP. BKB on the Slark. They're all fairly elusive.
I feel like they need a pipe, too, to
Xiao
break
Weight's
the
going to
base.
get caught mid lane. Eats a Grave Chill. He was out farming way too much. Shackle there. Burrow could follow. Actually still cooling down. The familiar stuns find the kill. A rare moment where Xiao Weit just gets picked off and the mid lane's pushing in. Everything's coming together here for DK. Buyback is available on Puck. Xiao Weit senses that he'll have to use it, and he drops it now. Starts the cooldown a bit sooner. DK, do they still look to go? I think they'll just wait until the next stages.
They can't afford to lose a Rex right now. LGD and cannot, because after that it'll just be so much easier for them to break the base. They can just run up the hill, not having to worry about Bat Rider pulling you up the cliff. It just makes breaking that T3 in the next
Burning
so
Blink, Burrow clips Sylar, but Xiao Weight's there with the counter initiate. Now a lot of damage being done by LGD. The coil, it caught everyone. The stolen Burrow from DD, but there's just too many items on DK. They're overwhelming LGD in the shadow of their own tier 3. A secondary impale. Super slow. Will he fall? Yes, he will. Burning 2. 3 heroes dead. The buybacks turn the fight around. Now, QQQ and RTK on the run. Well, my friend, this game is not over just yet, but that was a lot of buybacks from DK.
Right, and Spectre didn't actually lose that much gold after he bought his relic. They did a very good job of locking him down, especially with that Abyssal Blade from the Slark, but LGD had great counter initiate there, and they know they have to buy back. They know they have to defend this Rex at all costs.
Yeah, for the time being, DK, end of the day, you look at the structural damage done. This tower lost 300 health. That's not going to cut it. And
especially with, I mean, the glyph is still up too.
Yeah, they didn't even have to use the glyph. I guess the one consideration is DK have a lot of buybacks available. They haven't, well, not a lot available, but they have 2 on their core heroes and maybe could farm 1 on someone like the Slark before the next fight. The LGD are going to have theirs down for a good 4.5 minutes. So around the time of the Roshan fight, if LGD lose a hero or get picked off, they just can't take that fight. They forfeit it, or if the fight happens near their base, they may not be able to defend it. It's still a bit of a window for DK, but let's see if they can make anything happen with that window.
I think that Visage should have built a pipe instead of going for the point booster into an Ag Scepter. He's spent 3,200 gold on those items, and that's pretty much a pipe right there, and they need it to break the base. They have so much magic damage with Nyx Assassin, with a Fade Bolt, with a Blink, Waning Rift, Illusory Orb, Impale, or the Dream Coil, as well as all the magic damage from Bat Rider. They're just taking so much damage trying to dive that tower, as well as Dispersion, too. I think Dispersion is pure damage, but the point is they're taking so much damage when they try and dive that, and they don't have enough sustainability, enough protection to continue the siege on those T3 towers.
Yeah, you would have liked to see a pipe. I certainly agree with you now that you bring it up. And there's also going to be Radiance Burn, another factor which the pipe completely negates that. So Yao on the run, Firefly is up. He's going to have to blink into the trees. 2 seconds to go. Power shot, scouting things out. DK, they still have that gem. They're still dewarding. And LGD, they are very much trapped in their base. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. In Game 2, it's been a completely topsy-turvy game compared to Game 1. LGD China, they are really struggling here. They're down by 15k gold.
There's a smoke.
Down by 10k experience, but they're not out of the game just yet. There's always a hope where there's Spectre, and where there's a will, there may yet be a way. DK hiding in the trees under cover of that smoke you just mentioned, looking and fishing for an initiation here. LGD, a great spread so far. Maybe a little clump towards the tower.
He can like sell his poor Mancio right now. I think he can get his Radiance. He really needs that Radiance right before the next Roshan.
Nice try with the Observer Ward on the high ground. The smoke breaks. LGD, immediate deward from them.
There it is. There's a Radiance.
There's your Radiance. No buyback on Sylar, but
he didn't even use Haunt last fight, and they still kind of got... They still like escaped with kind of a lot of casualties. I feel like with Haunt and with Radiance and without a pipe, DK might just, like, the momentum might completely shift if they decide to go for a T3 push right now. They need the Aegis.
And if they lose one big fight, that might just be it. Because at that point, Sylar gets close to his next item, even if it's a Yasha, Diffusal Blade, towards the Manta Style, whatever the case is, he's going to have that next item, and then the next fight gets even trickier for them. So,
I mean,
DK,
it's a 16,000 gold difference in favor of DK right now, but it doesn't really feel like the momentum is that much in favor of them right now. They took out all the T2s a long time ago, but they haven't really been able to do that much since then. They took down the Aegis, or they took down Roshan with the Aegis, but since then, they haven't even forced a glyph out on the T3 towers for DK. In terms of net worth, Slark is on top with 15,000, and Spectre is actually 5th right now with 9,000 gold. But again, this just shows you how strong of a hero Spectre is. He doesn't really need that many items, and he is really good at just like if you die in team fights with Spectre, he still does a lot of damage. All you need to do is just stand there, and if they don't have BKB, if they don't have Pipe, they're still going to get owned by Dispersion, Radiance. Just all, I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's very true. The good news for Burning is finally he's going to have a damage item. He's up to 4K. It's coming soon. Hood of Defiance picked up on the Windrunner. They're going to build a Pipe. It's still late, but I mean, it is late, but I still think it's worth it. It'll be very effective here. And end of the day, QQQ will have an Aghanim Scepter. The one downside is now you're not going to get a Scythe of Vice anytime soon. RTK bought an Ultimate Orb. That would have been the Pipe a lot earlier if he had just spent it towards one. But the Pipe is coming for DK. Roshan number 2 is going to be attempted. And my question is, do LGD want to contest this, or do they just forfeit it and farm the Spectre?
I feel like they can't, just because they don't have that great of a Roshan lineup. But I mean, it looks like it's going to go down pretty fast, even without any minus armor on their team. I feel like LGD knows, but they're not in any position to do it right now.
Look at this. Burning's picked up a Sacred Relic. It looks like he's headed for a late Radiance of his own.
Interesting build.
I can't imagine it's a Divine Rapier. So.
It could be.
Yeah, knowing Burning, very unlikely, but it's going to be a late Radiance for him. And, well, he's getting close to it. He's actually got the gold for the recipe now. The Courier will purchase it. And they also pick up the Aghanim Scepter for QQQ. So, actually, excuse me, he's still 1,000 gold short, but it's coming soon. DK, still a big advantage here, Merlini. They now lead by about 17,000 gold, inching closer to that 20k mark. LGD, they were once interviewed and said, you need 20k gold, all the outer towers down, and a Pipe and a mech to break the enemy base. We're 36 minutes in, all those pieces about to come into place. Can DK now proceed to break the base? That is the big question.
It looks like LGD is finally starting to come together on items, though. Recently, that 33-minute Radiance by Sylar. We have almost a Scythe of Vice completed up on the puck. Batrider close to his 4-step. I feel like if they try and buy time for Weaver's Radiance, LGD is going to get a lot of their core items as well.
And there does come a point where trading farm with the Spectre is simply not favorable.
Slark's BKB is running low too. It is only a 6-second duration right now, and again, they're in a very tricky situation right now. They need to break the base, but it's just very difficult versus LGD's lineup.
Yeah, I wonder what Super is going to do with his gold. He's up to 3,300, and with the BKB not offering him that much, I guess he'll go Skady. I guess he'll try and tank up, but end of the day, I feel like if he doesn't have something like a Lincoln Sphere or maybe a Manta, just to kind of be elusive and hard to lock down in the fights, he gets caught by anything, there's enough damage on LGD to bring him down. They have a lot of burst damage, especially with the Spectre Radiance, and Desolate damage as well.
So it looks like they still have the gem, and that just makes it extremely difficult for LGD to farm, but they're not taking unnecessary risk is the thing. Sylar died quite a few times early. He's 0-3, but I think in the last like 15 minutes, I haven't seen him die once or take sort of unnecessary risk. Look at his position right now. He's so close to his team. There's DD sitting on the Rubik right behind him. There's Yao ready to grab someone, and usually the puck's there pretty close to blink in an AoE silence. So they're playing as a team right now, knowing what their goal is. Just try and delay the game, try and get some farm up, get some key items, Scythe of Vice, get perhaps a hard up on Spectre, get that 4-staff, which is finally up on Batrider, and then just try and wait for DK to make a mistake.
I mean, like you mentioned, LGD is playing this perfectly in the sense that they can't leave the base, but they're making sure that Spectre gets every bit of farm, and when he's farming the lane, they have 2 heroes parked behind him. We could see an initiation any second now, though. ROTK and Super lurking on the low ground. There's the Pipe. Is this the go word? Is this time for DK to commit to a big push? The top tower is healthy. The mid tower is healthy, so take whatever lane you wish. LGD China lurking in the base. They do have buyback on the Spectre, so DK, if they go on him, they could be in for a rude awakening. A Flame Break comes in from long range to slow this push down. Pipe is available. The creep wave is going to melt.
Oh, they just used Pipe, too.
They're going to have to back off. They're going to have to wait a full minute for the Pipe to cool down and for a wave to be there to go in.
About 3 minutes left until the age expires, but again, they're just. It seems like
do they need
the clock is ticking.
It's a late game Spectre. Oh, I mean it's a Spectre. It's one of the best late game heroes, is what I mean to say. But DK are really out farming him. They have 7k gold advantage on the Slark. They have 3k gold advantage on the, or 2k gold advantage on the Weaver, and a 4k gold advantage on Burning. Is that enough to just starve the Spectre's team to the point where you can win even though you have the clearly worse late game heroes just through sheer force of items?
I feel like if Spectre just gets a heart, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to win a team fight, even with a 15,000 gold differential. It's at 20,000 now, by the way.
Yeah, it's at that magical 20k mark that LGD have mentioned so much in interviews in the past. But DK, playing it patiently, playing it slow, keeping all the lanes momentum pushed in so that even if they lose a fight here, LGD May not even get a tier 1 off of it. The triple familiars come in.
I feel like they need a shackle.
But Puck forces them back. It's hard to find one
Dire's
for RTK. LGD, you mentioned how they're just in a line. It's not easy. Burning, chipping away at this bottom tower. And maybe this is how they do it. Death by a million cuts. Perhaps that's going to be the style here for DK.
All they need to do is delay until the...
Here we go.
Oh, here it
Pipe.
goes.
They're going in. Triple familiars for DK. They want to break this base. They want to tie it up as a 1-1 series and reset it to a full best of 3. Can they do it? Sylar, he'll rejoin the fray. And now he goes in on Burning. A blink and a silence. Burning quickly will tiptoe away. They'll back off. They'll
Burn the
reset
glyph. First step.
And the tower's also taking some damage here. The pipe will cool down. The mech will be back up. They've still got 5 urn charges. This is all that DK needs to do. And at some point, LGD will have to just take the fight, ideally before the tower falls, because once it does, it's much easier for DK to live.
It's really on the Sankey not to get initiate on. If he gets initiate on, I feel like they just straight up lose the fight right there. They need a big epi, and again, they need to wait until the pipe's up. But 15 seconds on that, about 1 minute left on the Aegis. They have like a 45-second window.
Oh, Burning. He hits the tower a few times. He backs off. The Aegis is ending soon. DK, I'm sure they've written it down. Will they still go? The clock is ticking. This could be awful for Burning. They'll pop the pipe again. Remember that Aegis, not a whole lot of time left. In comes RTK. Shackle! It latches on 2. A beautiful blink initiation by Xiao, and he catches them in the coil. But the blink, the burrow, the epi from Dai, it's all coming together for DK, but they haven't actually killed anyone aside from that Spectre, who buys back, who haunts back in. Now Yao jumps forward. The shackle narrowly missing by RTK. DK have not broken this base, not just yet. Super leaps out. Sylar in the middle of the fray. A shackle that was stolen by DE used against RTK. His own weapon turns against him. 3 heroes dead. Bend but don't break, and now Burning. Aegis expended probably with about 10 seconds left. That was at the buzzer. He'll come back in. Xiao 8's on the run. I think he actually wants to fight this. They think they can take Burning down. Yao's going to fall. He should fall to Radiance. Burning somehow managed to live. Burning gives chase. The familiars are there to finish off Xiao 8. And still Yao on the run. No 4-step. No blink. He'll take a spill. It's clean up in aisle 3 from the B-God. And he equalizes it. When it's all said and done, Spectre bought back. He used Haunt. Burning has the gem. He's got 5k gold. And DK, despite losing that fight initially, may have finally done it.
There's the buyback from the Puck, though. Things aren't over.
They're not over yet. The orb comes in. Xiao 8, a futile silence, accomplishing nothing. Merlini, the big thing for me is that Burning is up to 5k gold. Super, up to 4k gold, 3.5.
They need to pick up the gem. It's ridiculous. They really need to pick up the gem versus starting. He gets away with such low HP. Shadow dances all the way back up to full, and then they just win by the war of attrition right now. So now they're going to wait for Roshan. 2.5 minutes until that. Spectre really needs a heart until then. Right. Wow, he was trying to buy. What is he going for? Also an orb and a vitality booster. I thought for sure he was going for a heart.
Take care of this.
That was a scythe for Xiao 8 too. I think that's what the chicken was going to the secret shop for.
Yeah, it's pretty friggin' risky to send your courier to the secret shop at 43 minutes in when you have no outer towers.
He's gonna pick it up. He's gonna walk in and he has a
This
sheep.
is what he should have done, to be honest. But maybe he thought DK were fully committed to a 5-man mid. Thought he needed it now. He gives them a little bit of more gold advantage. End of the day, it didn't have the parts on it, so it's not the biggest loss. It hurts, but it's not the end of the world. The end of the world might be that Burning's got a completed heart. He buys it now. It's coming on the courier. And now, I don't think they can burst him. I actually think he might be too tanky, because also he's got pipe and mech on his side.
Sylar doesn't have buyback too. That's huge. If they pick off Sylar right now, it is almost certainly good game.
Look to RTK. Can he be the miracle man with those shackles? In Game 1, he was the GOAT. Make no mistake about it. But in Game 2, he could turn out to be the hero yet. It might be a redemption story for RTK here. He's been a playmaker for this team many a time in the past. He's probably screaming right now in China. He's a loudmouth. Can they do it? DK, they'll push in again. Once more, under the breach. They pop the pipe. They go over the top. Burning, chipping away at the tower. Lincoln Sphere has been removed. Now a blink and a lasso. They've caught RTK. He hasn't used his mech yet. He doesn't get it off. He gets blown up. And now a BKB Super thinks about diving in, needs to retreat. Burning's been a little bit aggressive. He's picked off this Rubik, but he eats an Impale. A Mana Burn. Who was I kidding? Even with the heart, he still goes down. Sandkin Epi completely airballed by Dai. Immediate buyback from Burning. There is no Haunt. There is no Dream Coil. And if they can just get 5-man grouped up now with a triple familiar stun slowing things down, maybe, just maybe, Merlini, they can break the base. They'll buy back an RTK2. He'll actually TP top because I guess it's the closest lane to mid, or at least he thought it was. Now he has to wind run his way towards mid. But they want to take this base while there's no haunt. They've got 80 seconds. And
there's no lasso, there's no dream code, there's no vendetta. They don't have nothing up.
I think this should be easy for DK, to be honest.
Yep, Sylar very close to his Manta style. He needs items. 2 minutes on buyback.
Yeah, might as well spend the gold now. Is he going to, though? Impale on Bernie, the Lincoln Sphere. Off cooldown, it will keep him safe. The Swarm splashes through. Won't really connect on anyone. A secondary Mana Burn. Bernie not happy about this, I do imagine. The triple familiar stack comes in. Even one lane of Rex doesn't necessarily mean GG. DK want to snowball this. They'll want to take more than one lane. And with this lane of Rex and then Roche number 3, it should be possible. They can taste it. This victory is close. It's within their grasp. But can they take it home to Mama? We'll have to wait and find out. A Blake, a Burrow on 2. Dai has broken the fight wide open. Burrow, was it stolen? It was, but it doesn't matter. Shaowade's dead. Sylar in trouble. Burning, driving him back to the fountain, and it looks like at long last they've broken this base. They're going to take one lane of Rax Merlini. No buyback on the puck. Bat Rider, no money for the buyback, so no buyback for him either. DK, 2 lanes of Rax off of this. This should be the end for LGD in game number 2.
Yeah, what a nasty, nasty Burrow strike by the Sand King there.
That was sick. I don't. Did he actually have vision? I guess they have an observer ward here on the high ground, so maybe they did. And that goes back to the gem. If they had the gem, that might not have happened.
Right. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't picked one up for themselves.
Blank Burrow. It catches out DDC. It's not going well for LGD in the last moments, perhaps, of game number 2. If DK takes this game, which it feels like they will, they'll tie the series up 1-1, and this best of 5 becomes a good old best of 3. They're working on the tier 3 bottom. It's dropping low. Triple familiars, as always, leading the way. They're taking 3 lanes of racks. It's going to be mega creeps. LGD still fighting on. You gotta imagine they're just talking it over and planning for game number 3, because there is no way they're coming back from this. I will actually eat a hat if they do. Burrow through, catches out ROTK. Now the Haunt comes in. This is the last moments. DD will fall. Burning, he'll look for more kills here. Sylar, despite the Haunt, is getting blown up, and DK are tanking their way through it. Even ROTK will live. He's been scythed up. Shao8 wants to muscle him down. He can't do it. Super jumps in. Abyssal to the face. Take that, you little fairy dragon. He'll fall. GG from Shao8. Triple kill for Burning. And on that note, DK are going to force a game 3. The series now tied 1-1.
I feel like things were going very well in the early game for LGD, minus the early death from Bat Rider, but he got a lot of level despite that, and a relatively fast Blink Dagger, and Nyx Assassin had a very early level 6, but I believe the score was at least 7-0, and maybe after that 12-1, so they weren't able to score any kills early and create space for Spectre like I thought they would. But again, fantastic play by Super on the Slark this game. I think he's MVP for sure.
Yeah, he definitely got a bit quieter at the end, but that's sort of the nature of Slark as a hero. He's not a great hero for breaking the base, unless you just pick someone off outside of the base. But he's not a Magnus, he's not a Bat Rider, he's not that hero that just jumps in and instantly finds a kill. That's where the Sand King, the Windrunner, really just step up, and they did, and that's what allowed DK to finish it. But it was Super who started it and carried them through the first 20 to 30 minutes. Team effort from DK, I would say.
Yeah, good warding, good gem. Good, that gem. I think, I don't even know if they bought another one for like 40 minutes.
You were like, come on, just take up the gem.
It's a counter versus Slark. It's like, if you don't get a gem versus Slark, I mean, they got one versus Nyx, and he's only invis for like 30% of the time with his level 1
mia! You're killing
me! Unbelievable. I mean, LGD
Your inner Italian was coming
they
out
played
there.
so calculated and like calm. I think that was like the one big mistake that they made. Not getting a gem, not picking it up. They even killed the gem wielder twice, but not picking it up and just letting Slark have his way. Farming Abyssal Blade, BKB, he was huge.
To be fair, they had other things on their mind. I mean, LGD was busy trying not to bleed out on the pavement, but in the end, great performance from DK. I think the big thing for me was just they picked a better draft this game. You get more of a snowball here for Super. You get a better game controller for him, and you set up Bernie for success. You put him in the safe lane in a 1v1 matchup, and you slow down Sylar. You do those 3 things, and I think that's a recipe for DK to take some more games.
Right. I like to see a statistic on how often Spectre first or second pick has won in 6.78, because for me, it just feels like it is near 0.
The hero is actually really strong,
it's
but
really strong.
The first or second pick him, it's easy to get aggressive tri-lane.
You need a better core. I mean, they had Bat Rider, but it seemed like Rubik didn't really do that much. He stole like 1 Burrow Strike maybe, and had a pretty good one after that. But I mean, the other heroes, Puck did very well in the 25 to 35 minute phase of the game. But again, he's a playmaker early.
Yeah, I actually thought despite the fact that LGD China's draft ended up feeling weak in the laning stage, they almost made something out of nothing there. They got early level 6 on their offlane Nyx Assassin. The Batrider Yao died to creeps. He delayed his Blink Dagger probably by a minute by doing so.
And his lasso.
Yeah, that gank bottom lane where they sent the Puck, the Batrider, and the Nyx, and they failed. They didn't get the kill on
And
Burning
they used their
Reaver.
Haunt.
They used Haunt as well. It did save the Spectre's life, but it cost them a tier 1 top. I feel like it could have been LGD China's game if any of those things had gone differently, or maybe if a few of them had.
They did a
didn't.
fantastic job of hanging in there, though. I thought it was like GG.
No way.
For sure.
Yeah.
But they held on for a good 20, 30 minutes and forcing a lot of buybacks, forcing them to play, like, just farm a ton of items, Heart and Radiance on the Weaver.
It
took a long time.
It shows you what Brax has been saying for a long time now. Whenever he goes on Much Ado About Dota or just speaks out publicly in interviews about what's different in Chinese Dota, what's different is it's so friggin' hard to break the base. That's really where most of these Chinese teams are strongest. And in the end, it wasn't enough, but LG China made a fight of it. We go to Game 3 now with a 1-1 series. It's a best of 5. Winner moves on. They go to the grand finals of the Dota 2 Super League. The loser, they drop down to the 3rd, 4th place decider, and they're out of the running to finish in first. LGD China versus DK. It may yet go the distance.
The difference.
The distance. I'm LD. He's Merlini. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back in just a few moments with game number 3.